I mean, the beginning of the summer was heartbreaking. I was really looking forward to wrestling in the Olympic trials, but in my last match at nationals, I kind of blew out my MCL a little bit, so I needed some time. I tried to train for it, but eventually I realized that if I went back in that tournament, I was going to really do some damage on my knee. So that was really sad. It's still down bad about that always, just because it's a missed opportunity for an Olympic team and a great experience just to get better. But this summer, I was just really active in my training, just trying to rehab my knee as much as I could. And then on top of that, in the room all the time. And then obviously on top of that, the end of the summer from August to October was just so busy. I was building a house here in Columbia and moved into that in September. And then a week later, I got married. So it was a very, very busy end of the summer, beginning of the school year. This summer, I was trying to add a lot of new skills. And with that comes some ability to use them in a way that's not primary way of attacking, way of wrestling. Like how I wrestle was fine. I just need to get better in those areas and more precise, and then adding things on, not changing the whole game. I think the beginning of the summer I was like, I need to change get back to the drawing board, change everything. Where I realized at that tournament, like, no, you don't need to change everything. You just need to get better in these positions and add on, not necessarily like change your whole identity. I got to go in with a little bit more of like some gusto and being like, hey man, like you're a great wrestler. You're gonna wrestle hard for 7 minutes and you're gonna score as many points as you can, and like not letting your mind veer off of that. Like anytime you feel that doubt or that little voice in the back of your head, that human nature of, oh man, things are getting hard. Like, man, this is difficult. You're not doing too well right now. Like you have to be able to push those aside. And I think that's something that I'm realizing now is like your mind has to be locked in on some certain key areas for you to perform well. Because if your mind's all over the place, you're just going to be, oh crap, he got to my leg here. Oh crap, I give up the collar tie. Like you're just going to be playing catch up. And you don't want to be doing that wrestling match against a high level opponent. You want to be playing, I'm 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of you.
He came off nationals, you'd think he was down, but he wasn't. He was banged up, he recovered, got ready for the trials for the other worlds.
I really needed it, even though I lost twice to two guys that are very good opponents, but I definitely look back at that wrestling and I'm like, I had more to give, I had better wrestling to do. Didn't expect that to happen, was just grateful for the opportunity to wrestle.
Had some good wins and had some tough losses, but from that got to wrestle up the weight, and now he's been wrestling at the weight that he competed in freestyle, and it's just, he's been good. He's definitely much bigger.
My body is definitely loving the new weight change. I would say I was making weight fine just because like there's an element of discipline in wrestling to like I never felt like it was like, oh, I'm gonna miss weight or making weight's hard. Making weight was never really like, I was never worried about it, but it was at the end of the year I had been wrestling through sickness, and the 4 years I've been wrestling at that weight, even my wife was like, you look so much different, like your face just was so sucked in. And I just realized by the end of the year it had gotten to me. Maybe should have been smarter with keeping my body healthy. And I'm not like an invincible robot. I can't just do a limited amount of work, make weight every weekend, wrestle through every sickness, every injury. Like you just can't do that. And by the end of the year, it just all kind of came, not crumbling down on me because I still felt like I performed really well, but like I was like, holy cow, man, I'm feeling a whole college season just brick by brick falling on top of me. So whereas if you ever watch me wrestle, I shoot a lot and I like to scramble around a lot. So trying to bring that up into it, but while refining my hand fighting, while refining my shot finishes and things like that.
He had some tougher matches than he wanted, but they were tough opponents. I think it was the Virginia Tech kid was really talented and scrambled really well. So it was just a different type of match for him. But he's adapting and getting better, and he's growing from it. And I know he's working these next couple of weeks on technique and keeping his strength up, that he's definitely prepared himself to move up a weight, and then with freestyle it's going to help him too.
The stuff that I was learning this summer just isn't what I primarily need to be implementing. It's like the things you learn are just additives, and they're not going to be revolutionizing, changing your wrestling. I thought that's kind of this summer I was trying to add a lot of new skills, and with that comes some ability to use them in a way that's not your primary way of attacking, way of wrestling. But going into the first month of college wrestling, still like there's so many things that I think that I've improved on, but there's also like things that I think I was doing better at the end of the year last year that I need to implement. So it's like just trying to find that balance of like constantly, like you're driving down a road and you're always going to be drifting to one side or another, but it's like having my coaches and having myself kind of always reflecting on every performance, practices, and skills just to keep me in line on where I'm going to be wrestling my best in what positions, and what are my hands doing, what are my feet doing, just to make sure that I'm going to be ready by March.